Eliana's heart pounded like a drum in her chest as she stood outside Tessa's door at midnight. The rain soaking through her thin jacket, her confession burning on her lips like a secret too heavy to carry any longer. She knocked, and when Tessa opened the door, her eyes wide with surprise, Eliana blurted it out. "I love you, Tessa, not as a friend but in a way that terrifies me." Tessa pulled her inside, her face a mask of shock that quickly twisted into something darker. And in that moment, Eliana knew everything was about to unravel. What had started as innocent coffee runs after work had evolved into late-night talks that lingered too long. Touches that sparked electricity she couldn't ignore. Eliana, at 28, had always played it safe. Good job as a graphic designer in Seattle, a supportive but conservative family back in the suburbs, and a string of failed dates with men that left her feeling empty. But Tessa, her co-worker with that effortless confidence, had cracked open a part of her she didn't know existed. "Why now?" Tessa whispered, her voice trembling as she paced the small living room, the city lights flickering through the window like distant warnings. Eliana's mind raced. Was this the right choice? Her parents' voices echoed in her head, their lectures about normal life, marriage, kids, the blueprint she'd been following blindly. But standing there, drenched and vulnerable, she felt alive for the first time. Tessa stopped pacing, her brown eyes locking onto Eliana's green ones. "You don't understand what this means," she said, her tone laced with fear. Eliana stepped closer, her hand reaching out instinctively. "I do. I've fought it for months, telling myself it's just admiration, but it's more. It's you." Inside, Eliana battled the doubt. What if Tessa rejected her? What if this ruined their friendship, their jobs? The office was a progressive place on the surface, but whispers about those kinds still floated in the break room. She pushed the thoughts down, focusing on Tessa's face, the way her pixie cut framed her sharp features, making her look both fierce and fragile. They sat on the couch, the silence heavy. Tessa finally spoke, her words cutting like glass. "My family. They're not like yours. They're devout, Eliana. If they find out, it'll destroy everything." Eliana's stomach twisted. She knew about Tessa's background, strict Catholic parents in a small town outside Portland, the kind who quoted scripture at every family dinner. But hearing it now, with her own confession hanging in the air, made the stakes real. "We don't have to tell them yet," Eliana pleaded, her voice cracking. But deep down she wondered if she was being selfish, dragging Tessa into her chaos. Was love worth the risk of alienation? As the night wore on, Tessa's resistance softened. She admitted the feelings were mutual, had been for longer than Eliana realized. "I see you every day, and it's torture pretending," Tessa confessed, her hand brushing Eliana's. The touch sent a wave of relief through Eliana, but it was short-lived. Her phone buzzed, her mother calling, probably to check if she was home safe. Ignoring it felt like a betrayal, a small one that foreshadowed bigger ones. "What do we do now?" Eliana asked, her mind swirling with possibilities and pitfalls. Tessa leaned in, their foreheads touching. "We figure it out together." But even as she said it, Eliana sensed the hesitation, the internal war Tessa was fighting. The next morning, reality crashed in. At work, they avoided each other's eyes, the secret like a live wire between them. Eliana sat at her desk, staring at her screen, her thoughts a storm. How could she reconcile this with her life? Her friends would ask questions. Her sister, always prying, would sense something off. And society, God, the stares, the judgments in a world that preached acceptance but practiced exclusion. She typed an email, deleted it, typed again. Was this the beginning of freedom, or the end of everything she knew? Lunchtime brought a stolen moment in the stairwell. "I can't stop thinking about last night," Tessa whispered, her voice urgent. Eliana nodded, her heart aching with a mix of joy and terror. But as they parted, a colleague's casual comment about office romances hit like a punch. Paranoia set in. Were people watching? Did they know? Eliana's inner voice screamed warnings, but she silenced it, clinging to the hope that love could conquer. Little did she know, Tessa was already cracking under the pressure, her own demons whispering louder. By evening, doubt crept deeper. Eliana drove home, replaying every word. Her apartment felt emptier, the walls closing in with unspoken fears. She called her best friend, skirting the truth, testing the waters. What if I like someone? Unexpected. The pause on the line said it all: hesitation, potential judgment. Hanging up, Eliana curled up, tears stinging. Was she ready to lose people for this? The question haunted her, but Tessa's face in her mind pushed her forward. The week blurred into stolen glances and secret texts. Eliana felt the tension building, like a storm on the horizon. Her family dinner loomed, her mother's insistent questions about settling down. Lying would be easy, but each deception chipped at her soul. I have to tell someone, she thought, but who? Tessa warned against it, her fear palpable. Yet Eliana yearned for authenticity, tired of the mask. One night they met at a quiet park, away from prying eyes. This is hard, Tessa admitted, her voice breaking. Eliana held her, whispering assurances, but inside, she questioned everything. Was their love strong enough to withstand the backlash? The answer eluded her, but the pull was undeniable. As they parted, Eliana felt a shift. A decision forming, one that would change everything. The decision came swiftly, like a dam breaking. Eliana invited Tessa over, determined to solidify their bond amidst the chaos. But as Tessa arrived, her face pale, Eliana sensed trouble. My brother called today, Tessa said, collapsing onto the couch. He suspects something. Asked why I'm distant. Eliana's pulse quickened. Family intrusion already? She sat beside her, hand on Tessa's knee, but the touch felt tentative now, laden with unspoken consequences. Inside, Eliana wrestled with guilt. Had she pushed too hard? Tessa's family was her anchor, unlike Eliana's, which was loving but suffocating in expectations. We can handle this, Eliana said, but her voice lacked conviction. Tessa looked up, eyes filled with turmoil. Can we? You don't know what it's like. Prayers for my salvation, threats of disownment. The words hung heavy, painting a picture of isolation Eliana hadn't fully grasped. She thought of her own parents, their subtle homophobia masked as concern. We just want you happy with a nice man. How would they react? Work became a minefield. A team meeting where their eyes met too long drew a raised eyebrow from the boss. Eliana's mind spiraled. Job security, promotions. Could this jeopardize it all? She buried herself in designs, but creativity faltered under the weight. Focus, she told herself, but thoughts of Tessa invaded, a sweet torment. Lunch breaks were agony. They ate separately, the distance a necessary evil that stung. Tessa's texts grew sporadic, laced with anxiety. Can't meet tonight, family dinner. Eliana stared at her phone, jealousy mixing with understanding. Was Tessa pulling away? The doubt festered, turning love into a battlefield. She confided in a journal, pouring out the conflicts. I want her, but at what cost? My identity versus their approval. The pages filled with raw emotion, a silent scream against societal norms that deemed their love wrong. A turning point came at a company party. Alcohol loosened tongues, and Eliana found herself cornered by a co-worker. You and Tessa seem close, he slurred, winking. Panic surged. She laughed it off, but inside fury boiled. At him, at the world that forced denial. Later, alone with Tessa in a quiet corner, she vented. I'm tired of hiding. Tessa's response chilled her. Maybe we should slow down. The words felt like betrayal, a crack in their foundation. That night, arguments erupted in whispers over the phone. You said you loved me, Eliana accused, tears flowing. Tessa sighed, exhausted. I do, but reality is cruel. My parents would cut me off, financially, emotionally. Eliana understood, yet resentment brewed. Was Tessa's fear greater than their bond? Her own inner monologue raged. Fight for us or let go? Sleep evaded her, the bed a reminder of solitude. The next day, Eliana sought solace in a support group online, anonymous faces sharing similar struggles. Stories of rejection, but also triumph, fueled her resolve. I won't back down, she vowed silently. But Tessa's hesitation gnawed, planting seeds of doubt. A surprise visit to Tessa's apartment revealed the depth. Religious icons everywhere, a testament to her upbringing. This is who I am, Tessa said defensively. Eliana nodded, but the symbols felt like barriers. Their first real date was clandestine, a drive to the coast, away from Seattle's eyes. The ocean's roar mirrored their turmoil. Tell me we'll make it, Eliana pleaded. Tessa hesitated, then nodded. But on the drive back, silence spoke volumes. Eliana's thoughts darkened. What if love wasn't enough? Society's chains, laws protecting, but hearts judging, tightened. Family pressure mounted. Eliana's sister visited, probing. Seeing anyone? The lie slipped out easily, but guilt followed. Why can't I be honest? She agonized internally. Tessa faced worse, a family intervention, questions about her lifestyle. She confided later, voice breaking. They think I'm lost. Eliana held her through the call, but distance amplified helplessness. As weeks passed, intimacy deepened emotionally, but cracks widened. A heated discussion about coming out. Eliana pushed, Tessa resisted. You're asking me to choose, Tessa cried. Eliana's heart broke. Was she the villain? The moral dilemma weighed heavy. Was forcing authenticity ethical, or selfish? Decisions loomed, each with a price. Eliana wondered if the love she chased was worth the wreckage. Wreckage began to manifest in unexpected ways. Eliana's work performance slipped, deadlines missed amid distractions. Her boss pulled her aside. Everything okay? She nodded, masking the storm. But inside, she questioned her choices. Prioritizing love over career? Tessa faced similar fallout. Family suspicions leading to unannounced visits, her privacy invaded. They found a text. Tessa confessed one night, panic in her voice. Eliana's blood ran cold. Exposure imminent? The text was innocuous, but context screamed intimacy. Tessa's parents confronted her, scriptures in hand. This is sin, they declared. Tessa denied, but the lie cost her soul. Sharing with Eliana, she wept. I can't lose them. Eliana empathized, yet frustration mounted. What about losing me? The words escaped, igniting conflict. Their calls turned into battles, accusations flying. You're coward. Eliana spat inwardly, regretting it instantly. Society's gaze intensified. A casual outing drew stares, whispers. Eliana felt exposed, her skin crawling. Is this our life? Hiding in shadows, she thought. Resentment building toward a world that forced conformity. Friends drifted, sensing changes. One confronted. You're different lately. Eliana deflected, isolation growing. Tessa's world shrank too. Church friends distancing, rumors swirling. A pivotal moment. Eliana's family barbecue. Her mother introduced a nice guy from church. The setup felt like a trap. Smiling through. Eliana's mind screamed rebellion. Later alone she cried. Why can't they see me? Tessa offered comfort via text, but her own fears echoed. My folks want me to date someone male. The revelation stung, jealousy flaring. Was Tessa considering it? Doubt poisoned their bond. Eliana imagined worst-case scenarios. Tessa yielding to pressure, marrying for show. Would she? The question tormented. They met secretly, tension thick. Promise me you won't, Eliana begged. Tessa's evasion spoke louder than words. I don't know. Betrayal loomed, a shadow over their love. Moral quandaries deepened. Eliana researched. Therapy sites preaching self-acceptance, forums decrying suppression. But real life was messy. Am I right to demand openness? She pondered, ethics clashing with desire. Tessa grappled too. Duty to family versus personal truth. God wouldn't want this pain, she whispered in prayer, conflicted. Confrontations escalated. Eliana's sister cornered her. Mom thinks you're depressed over a guy? The irony burned. Eliana snapped, hinting at truth. It's not a guy. Shock registered, questions followed. Panicking, she backtracked, but seeds were sown. Tessa faced worse, a family ultimatum. Therapy or estrangement. They think it's a phase, she sobbed to Eliana. Support waned. Eliana joined an LGBT group, finding solidarity, but it highlighted Tessa's absence. Come with me, she urged. Tessa refused, fear winning. Loneliness crept in, love feeling one-sided. Am I fighting alone? Eliana wondered, heart aching. High-stakes decisions loomed. Eliana considered coming out, repercussions be damned. But Tessa's pleas halted her. Wait for me. Patience frayed, arguments peaked. You're holding me back, Eliana accused. Tessa retorted. You're pushing me off a cliff. Words wounded, scars forming. As pressure built, a breaking point neared. Eliana's job hung by a thread, focus shattered. Tessa's family tightened grip, monitoring her. Love, once liberating, now imprisoned them. Eliana questioned. Was this worth the torment? The answer eluded, but the fight continued. Each day a battle against inner and outer demons. The battle turned brutal when betrayal struck. Eliana planned a weekend getaway, a bubble away from chaos. But Tessa canceled last minute. Family emergency. Suspicion ignited. Lies? Eliana drove to Tessa's, confronting her. What's really going on? Tessa's eyes darted, guilt evident. I told them. The admission hit like a freight train. Told them what? Eliana demanded, voice rising. About us. Shock froze her. Tessa had outed them, without consent. Why? Eliana cried, betrayal slicing deep. Tessa collapsed, explaining. They pressured me, threatened to cut ties. I thought honesty would help. But Eliana saw red. You sacrificed me to save yourself. The argument exploded, words like weapons. You don't understand the fear, Tessa pleaded. Eliana's inner voice roared. And my fear? My life. Trust shattered, love tainted. Fallout was swift. Eliana's phone rang. Her parents, informed via Tessa's family grapevine. Is it true? Her mother sobbed. Denial futile, Eliana confessed. Silence, then condemnation. This isn't you, it's confusion. Her father's voice boomed. We raised you better. Disownment loomed, family bonds fraying. Eliana hung up, numb. What have you done? She thought of Tessa, rage mixing with sorrow. Work erupted too. Rumors spread, colleagues whispering. HR called a meeting. Personal matters affecting performance. Eliana defended, but damage done. Promotions vanished, isolation grew. Was love worth this ruin? She agonized, career crumbling. Tessa faced exile, family shunning, friends abandoning. I lost everything, she messaged Eliana, seeking solace. But Eliana's response was cold. So did I because of you. Reconciliation attempts failed. They met, tears flowing. I was scared, Tessa admitted. Eliana softened momentarily, but wounds ran deep. Fear doesn't justify betrayal. Moral lines blurred. Was Tessa's action survival or cowardice? Eliana debated internally, empathy clashing with hurt. Forgive or forget? The choice tormented. Society amplified pain. News of similar stories. Outings leading to suicides, violence, haunted. Eliana feared for safety, paranoia setting in. Is this our reality? She wondered, anger at systemic bias boiling. Tessa sought therapy, grappling with identity. I hate who I am, she confessed. Eliana's heart twisted. Despite betrayal, love lingered. A desperate act. Eliana confronted Tessa's parents, pleading understanding. She's your daughter. They slammed the door, scriptures quoted. Defeat crushed her. Why fight for someone who won't fight back? Back home, she packed Tessa's things, symbolism heavy. Damage spread. Friends chose sides, some supportive, others judgmental. Eliana's sister mediated. Give her time. But time healed nothing, only deepened scars. Tessa's messages begged forgiveness. I choose you now. Too late. Eliana wavered, inner conflict raging. Love or self-preservation? High drama peaked at a chance encounter. At a cafe they collided. Eyes locked, emotions surged. I miss you, Tessa whispered. Eliana's resolve cracked. You destroyed us. Walked away, heartbreaking anew. Alone, she questioned every decision. Right, wrong, blurred in pain. The price paid was immense. Families fractured, careers derailed, souls scarred. Eliana pondered. Was the pursuit of truth worth the devastation? As awakening dawned, choices loomed, each with irreversible costs. Awakening came slowly, amid the ruins. Eliana rebuilt alone, therapy sessions unpacking layers of hurt. Betrayal stems from fear, her counselor said. But understanding didn't erase pain. She thought of Tessa daily, a ghost in her mind. Did I push too hard? Self-doubt lingered, moral ambiguities unresolved. Society's role loomed large. Acceptance preached but rejection practiced. Tessa reached out months later, changed. I came out fully, lost my family but gained freedom. Eliana's heart stirred. Redemption? They met, caution heavy. Tessa's eyes held regret. I was wrong to expose us. Eliana nodded, forgiveness tentative. The damage is done. Conversation flowed, old sparks flickering, but trust fragile. Reconnection tested boundaries. Dates cautious, conversations deep. Eliana shared losses. Job quit, new start in Portland. I had to escape the judgment. Tessa mirrored. Church abandoned, new community found. I'm learning to love myself. But shadows persisted. Family voids aching. Eliana's parents softened slightly, calls awkward. We miss you, her mother said, hinting reconciliation. But conditions unspoken. Change back? Conflicts resurfaced. A family event invited Eliana, Tessa excluded. Go without me. Tessa urged, sacrifice evident. Eliana refused. We're in this together now. The stand cost more alienation, but solidified bond. Internally, she weighed. Loyalty versus healing? Choices debated, each step forward, two back. High tension at a pride event. First public outing. Hands held, stares ignored. Empowerment surged, but anxiety whispered. Is this safe? Tessa's grip tightened. With you, yes. Moment of triumph amid turmoil. But news of hate crimes sobered. Love a risk. Damage lingered in quiet moments. Eliana's nightmares of betrayal. Tessa's of rejection. We paid dearly, Eliana reflected. Therapy helped, but scars permanent. Society evolved slowly, laws protecting, hearts lagging. When will it change, she wondered. A final confrontation. Eliana's family visit. Tessa joined, tension electric. Accusations flew. You corrupted her. Defenses rose, truths spilled. Love isn't corruption, Eliana declared. Walkouts, tears, partial acceptance glimpsed. Give us time, her father said. Hope flickered, but realism tempered. As they navigated forward, awakening bloomed. Eliana realized. Love demands sacrifice, but boundaries essential. Tessa echoed. No more hiding. Bond strengthened through fire. Resilient yet wary. In the end, they stood together, worlds reshaped. But the journey's cost begged reflection. Was betraying a loved one ever justifiable in the face of societal pressure?